Ready?
I'm ready.
Aight. Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Welcome, all my friends, to Couch Pilots, the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, aka the Bottle Cap Kid, and across from me is my best friend and yours, Philip Restasher. How are you, Philip?
Welcome. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
How's it hanging?
I'm excited. The weather outside is not frightful. I'm still delightful.
Yeah.
I just had some nachos with John. And
Nacho John.
Nacho John. And he's excited about this flight. He thinks it's going to be interesting.
He's not wrong in my book.
Put brand new batteries in the orange cone handle thingies.
What do those take? I've always wanted to ask him, what kind of batteries do those take?
They take negative 4D batteries.
4 negative D batteries?
Right.
Okay. Whatever happened to C batteries? I don't feel like anyone uses C's anymore.
They were too dangerous.
Why are batteries dangerous?
No. You know what we used to do with C batteries?
Take a hammer to them?
Was it D batteries? Wait, D's are the really, really big ones.
These are the big ones. You're talking about the C.
C's are the square ones?
9 volts.
Oh, no. I got a story about D batteries. Fuck C batteries.
All right, D me.
Okay, so you know the wiffle ball bats, the skinny yellow wiffle ball bats?
Sure.
We used to cut the tops of those off, and you could fit a D battery in there perfect. So we would put two D batteries in it, and then we would duct tape the shit out of it.
Okay.
So when we were playing wiffle ball, with a tennis ball, when you swung, they would, basically just like a corked bat.
Right.
The only problem with that is if you didn't pay attention to that duct tape at the end, eventually with those D batteries hitting, that duct tape over and over, eventually you will swing that and those things will shoot out and you don't know where it's going.
Yeah, essentially at that point, what you have is a David and Goliath slingshot
right.
where you can knock down a giant. That's where I thought you were going with that first. I was at the store just, I think Target yesterday or the day before, and they have a little plastic handle with a scoop at the end where you can put a little tennis ball in there and you can whip it for your dog.
Sure.
And the dog will go crazy for it. That's what I thought you were doing. I thought you were using this solely as a D battery launcher.
No, it was before performance-enhancing drugs.
Right, which now you use in droves, so you don't need this anymore.
Well, at that age, they didn't have it, and backyard wiffle ball was very heated.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever edge you could have.
You had to take it.
Yeah, I mean.
Some kids hit puberty before others, right? You're all put in the same pool of people.
Sure.
And some kids had to do what they had to do to get ahead.
Right, yeah, because you don't want to get made fun of if you stroke out every time.
Yeah, and if that means taking the back off your brother's boombox, stealing his D batteries, throwing them in your wiffle ball bat, that's exactly what you did. That's
right.
exactly what you did.
You do what you got to do to get it done.
You get by with a little help,
From your friends or even your enemies.
Or even your brother's boombox. Ah, boy.
Get my brother's ball back.
Proof positive he has seen Boys in the Hood.
I was thinking about that the other day.
Did you get a raging milk boner thinking about
it? Nope. There's too many black girls in that one.
You're not a fan of black women?
I don't dislike them. They don't give me a milk boner.
Welcome to Couch Pilots. My name is Jason, a.k.a. the Bottle Cap Kid, a.k.a. the Black Magnet.
Right. You love...
Well, it's not... I mean, I don't mind them. To me, like I said before, you turn off the lights, they're all the same color.
And the same temperature.
And the same 98.6. All these women, I turn off the lights, I say turn around and bend over, I take their temperature rectally, and
with the glass.
Yeah. I said do not clench, you're going to break the glass, and the mercury is going to cause a real problem.
When did your mom stop using those on you?
What is it July or January right now? So
honestly.
I don't remember. Like rectally?
Yeah.
It had to have been as a time before I could cement memories. It had to have been. Right? How old were you when you stopped getting rectal thermometers?
I think like 7 or 8.
You would remember that. You remember that, didn't you? At that age, if your mom accidentally nicked your prostate, could she have milked you at 7? These are real questions. I'm a real person. I'm not some.
It happened. Now I'm going to ask her about that. Like, why did you do that so long into my life? It's all about accuracy.
I will say
about facts.
Yeah, you got to. Whether or not it's interesting, how the best way to take someone's temperature is beyond me.
Email us. How do you take your kid's temperature?
You want those frequent flyer points? Right now, for a limited time only.
I'll double them.
Double your frequent flyer mile points if you send us an email at couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com and let us know how you take your temperature. We all do it. None of us are immune to the fevers. Black women, please send me your emails. I know I am the black magnet and you are attracted to me. That's fine. Send me your emails.
What's the email address?
I said it once. I'll say it again. It's couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com.
Yep. Cha-ching.
Oh, boy. We covered a lot in a very short amount of time. But unfortunately, none of that is why we're here.
No, that's just our banter segment.
We have 5 minutes of banter, which we have now exceeded, and we will now move on from. This is really the only opportunity I get to know you as a person, and we're moving beyond it.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
I am not a drummer. I don't have any kind of musical talents. My brother Ryan is a drummer. He's a great drummer. And if he were here right now, he'd be doing one of these. Boom. Welcome to the 1980s and the second season of Couch Pilots.
It's the second season of Couch Pilots, episode 1.
There is no separation. There's no gap in time between the first season and the second season, making it virtually pointless that we do it.
Just to add an extra S2 and start the numbers over again.
You take your favorite TV show, end of the first season, maybe there's a little cliffhanger, and then you're like, oh, I can't wait. You're rubbing your hands together, you're rubbing your wrists. Oh, boy, I can't wait. I'm wringing them. I cannot wait till the second. You don't have to wait for us. It's the very next week.
1 week. 7 days is all you have to wait.
But I will say, what a cliffhanger last week, though, right? We really made them wait those 7 days.
Right. They were on pins and needles.
Also needles, right. If this is your first time listening, Blake and I watch old TV pilots, and we talk about them. Most of them you've never heard of, and after listening to this podcast, it will not change your life at all, except you'll be slightly more entertained.
Yeah, I think I've only heard from one listener who actually watched whatever show.
I think a couple people have that I know of, yeah.
Okay.
And none of them are usually pleased.
Sure.
I think this podcast...
They're pleased by the podcast. They're not pleased by the show.
Oh, yeah.
Let's make that a fact
right
now.
Interesting or not, it is a fact that I know many people who have listened to this show, several people who've actually watched the show we're talking about, and were only entertained by us.
Good to hear.
This week we are listening. You're listening. We watched, and now you're listening to us talk about the show Walter. W asterisk A asterisk L asterisk T asterisk E asterisk R from July 17th, 1984.
1984.
Up to this point, I have been negative years old as compared to the TV pilots we've watched, but now we've crested those Reaganomic years, and I can finally exist.
How old were you?
At that specific date, July 17th, I was 2.5.
Really?
Yep.
I was 9.5.
End of October of 81.
Yes, I was 9 years old, and you were...
I was 2.5. A lot of my teeth are coming in. I'm walking around. I'm making attempts in the bathroom. I can't always do it.
You're getting your temperature taken rectally probably still?
That is a memory I actually have. Okay. I do not have a memory of me getting a rectal thermometer, but I had trouble potty training. And I think I may have told this story before, and I apologize if I have. I remember on the old riverfront in Peoria, before it kind of got a little nicer than it is now, it's kind of the old Sears riverfront. Right. It just kind of had a lot of parking lots, and it's kind of junky. They had set up like a stage in the back of a trailer down there, and who was down there performing magic? McDonald's spokesperson, Ronald McDonald himself. And as a child, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Right.
And I wanted to go, and my mom said, you can go if you poop in the potty. Okay? Really, and maybe this anal stimulation is really what put my brain online, which made me remember this. I don't know if I have many memories before this, but I was given a suppository as a toddler to make me use the bathroom.
Because you just wouldn't use it, and so then you got all filled up?
I don't know how it works.
Or it's like, hey, we're just going to give him a suppository, have him sit down, and then he automatically is going to poop.
Right. And, now that I think about it, and I thought about this memory several times in the course of my life, but now that I'm really thinking about it, it might have just been a finger in my asshole to make me poop. I don't know. I'd have to ask my mom.
We need to get a hold of your mom.
Let's get her on the horn. But talking about rectal memories, that is my first one. And one of my last ones. Not a lot happens down there besides BM.
That's it?
Yeah. There's some general upkeep.
All right. Well, I don't know what that has to do with Walter.
Well, you don't? Boy, you must have fast forwarded through. There's a whole anal scene with Walter.
Oh, all right.
I was 2.5. You were 9. So great. I finally a time where I exist.
You're positive, right? Do you miss being the negatives though?
As we all know, before we were born, we are with Jesus in heaven, and yeah, there's a certain charm in that.
Sure.
But
the temperature was good up there?
Temperature is great. It was a semi-balmy 98.6 degrees in heaven. And how do we know that? Is because we took heaven's temperature rectally.
All right, just stuck in the back end of the cloud. Hey, Angel. Hey, Angel.
Most of the angels were just named Angel. All right, we don't. I
didn't think of that.
We don't watch just any TV show here on Couch Pilots. There's a very extensive vetting process, and here to talk about this is the podcasting god himself, Philip Restisher. Philip?
Hey, folks. You're probably wondering to yourself, how do they pick these shows?
Yeah.
Well, it's a painstaking process that Captain Jason does.
Right.
He scours the internet. Like a mother sifting through her son's hair looking for lice eggs.
Yeah.
He finds a show and he says, okay, I found a show. Does it meet the criteria? Number 1.
Lice eggs.
Was it a pilot that failed and did not go to series?
Right.
Okay. Number 7. Is it free?
Is it? Yeah. It's got to be free.
Okay. And number 482, could we find it? Could we watch it?
Those are all key elements into whether or not they are chosen.
Don't care about. Don't worry about the number.
No,
that does not rank how important it is.
Not even in the slightest.
I could have put them all at -4.
Yeah, the number system is arbitrary. It's just it's the meat of the feast that we want. We want give us the information.
Right.
Free, available to be watched. Failed pilot. Boom, but you number them however you feel fit. I don't care.
Yep. And now that we're in season 2, there has to be 4 things.
What's the 4th thing?
It's got to be from the 80s.
Yeah, that's very true. We'll get to a point where we get past current time, and we can come back, and it won't matter when it is anymore. Maybe we go back into the 70s again. I don't know. We haven't really planned that far.
Right.
We just keep waiting. You and I, we sit back to back in a chilly room waiting to be canceled. Right. So we don't know if it's going to happen.
We just keep looking at lips and looking and seeing if 3 people listen to our shows.
We just keep licking our lips. Sometimes you lick my lips. Sometimes I do yours.
That's for another show.
Thank you for having us on the show, Sex with Heather. But one of us might die. We don't know what the future holds.
Hey, we should talk about that though. What if one of us dies?
I think we've talked about what would happen to the show. I think
this show.
Yeah, I think you said that if you died, the show could no longer go on. But if I died, surely you would not miss a beat.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, so again, proof positive. We have talked about.
So it makes my life more important than yours.
I would say so. You have more kids than I do, right? So that makes you more important than me.
That's true. But you're better dressed than I am.
Oh, without a doubt.
Hey, you should feel this new T-shirt.
I'm not going to touch you.
But we kiss each other when we're back. We lick each other's lips when we're back to back.
Our mouths are filthy. Doesn't mean our shirts and our hands are.
Hey, remind me. I'll tell you about my infected finger. Speaking of which, my infected finger.
Now you're just flipping me off.
No,
that's all that appears to be. Hey, fudge you too. That looks awful. I don't want to know about that. Look, do you want to watch Walter? Yes, you do. You want to watch it because Blake and I are speaking a very special and specific language that can only be spoken and understood if you watch these pilots. Go to fcfnetwork.com. Click on Couch Pilots. Click on the blue link. Take the FCF Network Challenge. Boom. Go to YouTube and search Walter. You'll find it. It's there to be found.
It is free.
It's all free. We're so stupid.
The show is free. We're doing a free show about a show that you can watch on the internet for free. But the thing is, we're more entertaining.
Right. Because they didn't last. We could never do a show on this show like Couch Pilots because we've gone past the pilot episode.
Oh, yeah. Like we're in season 2.
We are already more successful than all of these pilots.
We are well on our way to syndication.
That's right. And once you get to syndication, that's where the Pacino machine goes crazy.
Party time, party time, party time.
Oh, I love that song.
We'll be bouncing in the clubs. We'll just be, oh, man.
First of all, we'll get to the clubs. And they're going to open the door. Boom. Red carpet. You and I walk in with our white suede shoes on. So don't scuff these shoes, brother.
Right.
They're going to sit us at the VIP table. They're going to be popping corks. And we're going to be sitting there all night saying, guess who's in syndication?
Yep.
These mother scrubbards.
Mother scrubbards. Our family will finally be proud of us.
It only took 40 years.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
Okay. Oh, wait to John.
John,
John,
we'll see you on the other side, buddy.
Oh, he's not dying.
No, he is where we land. He'll be there.
Okay, I was like, I thought you like Down syndrome people can live just like regular people can't.
I forgot he had Down syndrome.
Yeah, you can't forget. How can you forget that John has Down syndrome? Look at him.
Can Down syndrome people get tattoos?
Why couldn't they? He's got the
Led Zeppelin angel.
Led Zeppelin angel, and he was talking to me when we were eating nachos.
About his nacho tattoo?
No. He's going to get a new tattoo. He's going to get a new tattoo of us in the Couch Pilots logo.
That's
he says he loves working for us.
Well, we love having him.
It took me about an hour and a half to find that out.
If you have any questions or problems with this show, send us an email to couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. No, my concern is that with someone with Down syndrome, do they have enough wherefore and can they give proper consent to say I'm permanently altering my body with this tattoo?
Sure. He can help land a plane, for Christ's sake, with people on it, with thousands of people back there.
We got a little ways to go here. When we're done, I am going to Google image Down syndrome tattoo.
Okay.
We're going to get to the bottom of this. Summary of the pilot. The neurotic but perceptive Walter Radar O'Reilly joins the police force after the Korean War. This show relates the adventures of Corporal Walter Radar O'Reilly. After he returns home from the Korean War, he is no longer calling himself Radar and has moved away from Iowa after he sent his mother to live with his aunt, settling in St. Louis, Missouri. By the beginning of the series, he has become a police officer, though his character is still as in the original series.
The backstory to how he got here. Like
a couple flashback scenes, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a lot of stuff that happened.
Yeah, it took about at least half, maybe a little over half the episode for them to get into a now you're caught up to where you need to be. Let's keep going. Let's go on to interesting facts, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get a blue link in the show notes to Down syndrome tattoo. Do not. Wow. Now, okay. All right, let's get back.
Because it's missing chromosomes.
Well, that's to me that looks like DNA. That tattoo looks like the
chromosome thing,
the twirling double helix that DNA is.
No, this is like one of those ribbons. How every cancer, so it's got one of those. But then it's got the little DNA things that, like the chromosomes that make it.
But I don't think that's chromosomes, though, right? X and chromosomes are like weird.
Looks like little Ike and Mikes. To be honest with you.
Well, click on the show notes for that as well.
Here, I'll save it.
Interesting facts. Again, just the name of the segment. We're not calling these facts
Right.
interesting per se. These are just facts.
Definitely time to get back to seriousness. Then.
We've got a prophecy to fulfill. These facts could be interesting. Not for me to say. Walter, okay, you put the phone away. This is just nonsense. This is exploitation.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you're forgiven.
I didn't know John was. You could type that in and see a picture of John.
John is sleeved out. And I tell you, it's pretty surprising to see those nachos tattooed on him.
Right.
Nacho John. It's better than what we're calling him before. Interesting facts. Walter is a pilot for the spinoff of MASH, made in 1984, that was never picked up. It starred Gary Burghoff, who reprised his MASH character. Blake, were you a fan of MASH?
MASH 4077. I was too young to understand it. Understand a lot of the jokes. I didn't understand what the Vietnam War was, what it was.
Korean War.
Yeah, the Korean War. That's what I meant.
Hold on a second. Do you think the Korean War and the Vietnam War are the same thing?
No, because to be honest with you, I'm going to call myself out here. But when I was like, wait a minute, MASH was in the Vietnam War, but this says St. Louis 1954. Yeah. Well, I know that the Vietnam didn't happen until the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
I'm like, they messed up so bad on this.
MASH was on the air for like 10, 12 years, and you think they screwed it up the whole time? Well, the funny thing about MASH is like it was on for like 10, 12 years, but the Korean War was it wasn't even a war per se. It was the Korean conflict.
Sure,
I think.
Sure.
And there was
conflicts when a couple of guys go into a big field. Mm-hmm. and have conflict with each other,
right? And then I think it stems from a misinterpretation of a secret handshake. Like, you know how everyone's got a secret handshake?
Sure.
It's like maybe, I don't want to take it up to smoke the weed. I want to do the wavy hand thing.
Oh, yeah. Fish in the water. Fish in the water.
Right. To me, that's a conflict.
Yeah, that's a conflict.
I never seen an episode of MASH, ever.
I think for some reason, somebody in my family watched it quite a bit. I don't think it was my mom, because that would have been even after her time. You know what I mean? But I remember seeing a lot of episodes.
It was in the 70s, though, right?
Right.
MASH is on in the 70s.
Right. I'm talking syndication, though.
Okay.
My mom was too busy slinging that poontang in the early 70s. It's true.
What? Your mom was?
Was slinging poontang in the early 70s.
Slinging poontang. Wow. We'll have to get her back on here for another interview.
I'm sure. No, but I do remember. I just remember me being too young to understand most of the jokes and worrying about the Vietnam War.
Growing up, I had maybe like 30, 35 channels is what I remember when I was a kid having cable, and I would always go to channel 13. It was Fox, and I'd watch like The Simpsons on in the evening, and I'd always watch Fox because they didn't have a local news, and I didn't want to watch local news as a kid. I didn't care. And then about 10 o'clock, I think they showed back-to-back episodes of MASH, and that's usually when I checked out because I didn't want to watch that. That's the helicopter coming in.
Dun, 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 dun,
See,
dun.
I don't know the song. I don't wish I did. I don't care. But to me, seeing this is really this is the first episode in the MASH universe that I really watched. So let's go through a couple more facts here real quick. Broadcast difficulties. Since the pilot was never picked up by a CBS series, it was shown as a CBS special presentation. And it says that at the beginning. It kind of does that spin.
Yeah.
I miss those. I miss those old promos. Cool. It was a CBS special presentation on July 17, 1984. It was shown only once in the Eastern and Central time zones of the United States, but preempted on the West Coast by CBS News coverage of the Democratic National Convention. This is the only known broadcast of the pilot. Only half of the country saw this abomination.
If everybody would have saw it, they might have got picked up. We might not have been able to even talk about this.
It still may be on the air today, if that happened. This episode,
doubt it.
Probably not. This episode takes place after the series finale of MASH and a two-part guest appearance on After MASH in which Radar was forced to leave the family farm. One of the shortest-lived spin-offs on record. The show aired only a single episode, and that only the eastern half of the country saw it before being canceled. This aired only the eastern, set in Missouri, 1954. Before co-star Ray Buktenica appeared in the pilot, he was a regular on the CBS sitcom House Calls, which starred another former MASH regular, Wayne Rogers.
Yes.
a lot of facts. That was a lot of info
That's
there.
a lot of facts. They were great facts.
Hold the phone.
What?
Hold on 1 second. Undoubtedly, these are facts.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. They are great facts.
Stop right there. Stop right there.
What?
We agree they're facts.
I'm telling you, they're great facts.
That last part? What? They're great?
I said they're gray facts.
Gray?
Yeah.
Okay. It is true that I've put a gray hue on the Excel sheet about this. I apologize. I heard great, and to me, that's a qualifier that we distance ourselves
I wouldn't
from.
touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
I said they're great facts because I looked on your spreadsheet.
I was, boy.
You're about ready to go to Pound Town.
Right. Everyone gets one.
So I still have one.
You still have one to use. Set in St. Louis, 1954, a CBS special presentation. Again, I miss those. Directed by, did you see this? Bill Bixby. Who's Bill Bixby? I don't know. I know who he is.
Who is he?
He played Bruce Banner, the man version of TV's The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, okay.
Who would later go on to commit suicide.
Be Lou Ferrigno.
He would later go on to be Lou Ferrigno. Bill Bixby, to this day, just cannot get away from that stereotype of Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk.
He killed himself?
Bill Bixby did, yeah.
Oh, man. Poor guy. Booze, women, what? Drugs?
I think Nacho John's got a tattoo of Bill Bixby on his back. Radar, back from Korea, now a rookie cop in St. Louis. How did he get there? We'll tell you how.
Oh, geez.
A series of flashbacks will show you.
We have a diagram for that. Like, there was hundreds of events, tiny events that took place that caused this, but we'll just do the major ones from the flashback.
This series takes place in a single day. It's him and his cousin, who I think he's living with at the time.
Right.
And his cousin is a cop. And so they're both getting ready for their day on the force.
On the beat.
Right. Walk that beat. They go in front of the TV, which were big boxes with tiny screens back then.
Right.
They're looking at that. And it's like, hey, you're coming on TV because they're doing. I don't know if it's local news or national news. They're doing specials on people who have come back from the Korean conflict.
Sure.
And so this week they're focusing on Radar or
Right.
Walter O'Reilly because
Sure.
again it says he's moving away from the name Radar. He doesn't like that.
Sure.
And they don't really say that much during the show either. Radar. So they're doing this special. It's like, oh, we got to go to work. We don't want to be late. They go to work. They're watching it there at the station.
Right. It's all over. They're watching it when they're home. They watch it. They're still on with her at the station.
Yep.
And just like he is already a good cop. Like he just started, but he's already a great cop. Like he's filling in details that somebody, one of the desk clerks about his report, and he's like, no, these are all right stuff.
He is a stickler for details.
Yep,
He's
just like he
intelligent. As much of a sad sack and pathetic person as he will prove to be throughout just this 22-minute pilot, he does have some redeeming qualities.
Sure, and that was the same as his character on MASH. Like he was very, he was always there when he was needed or whatever, and he was very good, but he was also really duncy too. Like if you could be smart and stupid at the same time, that's what he was.
He's book smart but socially dumb.
Fucked many a girls like that.
Ooh, boy, same way I take their temperature. So Radar, he tried to work. He kind of learned about his backstory from this interview he's doing. They're at the police station. They're watching the interview, and you get a little glimpses of it. And then the captain is like, "Yeah, get out of there, walk the beat, you chumps." And then they go in front of an appliance store and they start watching it again. And during this time, what's that?
Uninterrupted this time.
Yeah, they're able to finish the interview
on a TV that was $989.50
in 1954, which would be $10,000 today.
Yeah,
maybe
it was like astronomical price,
and that may be true. That may be an actual.
It was black
number.
and white.
Yeah, but during this time we learned that Radar, and this may have been covered in the short-lived series after MASH too, because I think they mentioned that in our interesting facts section. It's the section is called Interesting Facts.
Okay.
Walter, after the Korean conflict, he comes back to the States, back to Iowa. He goes to the farm that he grew up on, and he loses the farm.
The government says, hey, I will pay you to not farm.
Subsidies, yeah. I think that still exists to this day.
And I'll pay you to do... I'm the government. I'll pay you to do nothing because... surplus, I guess.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think it had a lot to do with the fields having the Asian orange powder on them from the war.
Did you say Asian orange?
Well, yeah. That's,
okay.
The Asian orange chicken.
Yeah. Okay. I think
all
we're
right.
talking about
Anyway,
okay.
He says, no, it's my farm. I'm going to farm it. His crops don't grow. He loses everything.
He does.
Even his pet pig.
What was the pig's name?
Eleanor.
That's exactly right.
Damn right it is. Do you have that on your notes?
You know I do.
Damn right. High five.
But before he loses Eleanor, he must clip a lock of Eleanor's hair off.
Right.
Because he keeps it in his wallet.
Next to his picture of all his friends on MASH.
Yep.
The 4077.
So everyone's watching a special.
Right. So
Keep showing flashbacks, and the next one is of his honeymoon.
so depressing.
He's such a sad sack.
God, they
They go down to St. Louis for that. I don't know if they're on their way somewhere. I can't remember, but
They're going. The
while they're on their honeymoon,
Right.
if they're heading somewhere, but they're staying in
something
St.
Falls.
Louis.
But there's it's a place where it's like Niagara Falls, but without water. I remember him saying
Okay, so just a cliff.
Patunky Falls or something like that.
So he gets a note. A note. You never even see the wife.
Nope.
But I think it's on their honeymoon. She leaves him for another guy.
Yeah, he comes in with his suit on. He's got flowers for her.
Sweetheart.
He hollers for. He's like Sandy. And she's,
Sandy!
oh Sandy.
Oh my God,
Love has gone all alone. I sit and wonder why, why you left me. Oh, Sandy.
Hey, the girls will cream.
Huh?
The girls will cream.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Eric Clapton and Cream.
It was, I think, Eric Clapton and then all the girls will cream for Grease Lightning.
Right. So Sandy leaves him a note, says, hey, you're the great guy. You would do anything for me. You still do anything for me. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go head out with Hoo-Ha Guy here.
Yep. She leaves with Hoo-Ha Guy, and then and that's what he tells while he's on the TV. They're in an interview, and they kind of do that flashback, and then they're standing in front of that TV outside the window, the picture window of the appliance store, and there's a young street punk behind him, and he says, "Hey, you make a better door than a window. Smarts off. I would never smart off to an officer like that.
Hell no.
You're asking for trouble, son."
You're just like running with the devil.
Hey, I used to sing Eating Fruity Pebbles. Did you ever sing that?
Eating Fruity Pebbles.
Did you ever sing that?
I hear it in my head.
It's
now.
in there. Walter takes it. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't. If I was that guy, I'd pull up my billy club. I'd whack that kid in the skull, and I say, "Why don't you?" Yeah.
I would Trayvon Martin his ass.
Oh Jesus. Yeah. Well, he did drink that drink. That purple drink.
Right. Drink that purple drink.
Yeah, I cannot imagine, especially in the Fergusons of today and the Trayvon Martins of
it was in St. Louis.
Events.
That's why I said that.
In St. Louis.
I wasn't trying to be a heartless asshole prick and bring that up. That's why I brought it up because I was trying to keep it going around in a circle.
Okay. Well,
Jeez. You thought I was just trying to be a racist asshole.
Well, that's how I always think about you. A lot of my friends say, "So you're part of a podcasting network? Who's in charge of this thing?" I said, "His name is Philip Restisher," and they say, "What kind of guy is he?" I say, "He's a racist asshole." That's what I say.
That's why none of the girls call me.
Okay, so then flashback again. Boom. His farm goes under. His ex-wife or his wife leaves him. He said, "Okay, what do I have left? I came back to this country. There's nothing for me here.
Right.
There's nothing here. I'm going to go to the drugstore. I'm going to get a bunch of pills, and I'm going to off myself.
I'm going to whack myself with pills." And that's where here's the shining light of this whole 25 minutes.
Now, I know where you're going with this, and I will say that it seems like the only saving grace for you, anyway, to any show is by introducing a buxom blonde. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, basically.
I remember back to, what was it, Clone Masters. Remember when he went to D.C. and just said, "I'm going to go to D.C. and figure this out."
He goes to the restaurant.
And that woman, everything was hanging out.
Everything.
The pause button wore to a nub on my controller.
But this specific actress, I can vaguely remember.
You have a history.
I have a history as a child. Really, when I first saw her, I was like, "There's only one person that could have that voice." It was.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, that's her."
Yeah, he walks into the drugstore, which at the time, he also called the corner store, the malt shop. You get a bowl of soup there. He
Play
walks
some pinball.
Oh boy, I've got some notes on that. He goes into the store, and who's the buxom blonde working behind the counter with that so familiar voice?
Victoria Jackson.
Straight up.
But it wasn't Jackson. It must have been before she got married, maybe, because it was Victoria something else on the credits.
I didn't notice
I
that.
didn't write it down.
Okay.
But yeah, it wasn't Victoria Jackson. But yeah, and she was on Saturday Night Live.
That's where I first came to know her, is in the early 90s on Saturday Night Live.
Very high voice.
Yep. Very high-pitched, kind of whiny voice. I do remember on Saturday Night Live, she used to do a lot of tumbling and gymnastics.
Right. Yeah.
And that is put on display here in Walter, where she does a heads. She says, I've been taking tap dancing lessons. She starts a tap. She gets on the counter while Walter's sitting there.
She got her library card.
Oh yeah,
and taking tap dance lessons. That's why she moved to St. Louis.
The world is her oyster at this point. So and then she's tap dancing. She does a headstand and then the splits. And I think you nearly split your pants.
I had a milk boner.
Yeah,
I got a milk boner.
A raging calcium induced milk boner.
Meta milk boner. I saw her undergarments for probably a tenth of a second.
There's a great jumping off point. When's the last time, with the age of internet porn, I could see 3 foot into a woman right now if I Google imaged it. When was the last time you got aroused by seeing a woman's undergarments?
I think it's been a long
Been a long time.
Right now, Justin is probably singing. I mean, John's probably singing that song down the tarmac. But anyway, as a reference back,
Yes.
It had a lot to do with her voice, then her a sleek young leg.
Oh yeah,
but then those black and white
tap shoes,
sock hopping shoes.
Yeah,
and then she just flipped it all over and.
So it was just the complete package, the total context in which her undergarments were presented is what gave you that sweet, delicious milk boner.
Yep, I wrote down here, Victoria tries to cheer him up by tap dancing and showing her underwear.
I'm suicidal 4-5 times a year. That would cheer me up. If that happened, if that happened 6 inches in front of my face like it did to Walter O'Reilly, yeah. A suicide, no thanks.
Yeah. Happy joy? Yes.
Boy, we still got some stuff to go through here. Okay, so they're leaving that scene. I think she says she's going to close down the shop because she's trying to make this suicidal guy feel better.
Right.
Who does she kick out? But 2 of your favorite things in the entire world. She kicks this woman out. She's an old woman. Some would say a grandmother.
Sure.
Which I know you love.
I love them.
And she's talking. And what's the grandma doing? She's playing pinball.
Right, because all grandmas play pinball.
That's had to. And again, this is another show that had a laugh track, and the laugh track was in full force when she kicks this old woman out. But I know you love grandmas. I know you love pinball machines. I'm gonna tell you, if you had a milk boner before, you're probably ripping right through your zipper at this time.
Well, by then I've already released.
Zip ripping.
I've already ripped through the zip, rip potato chip, and yeah.
Okay, so he's eating soup at this drugstore. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, I feel bad. So he goes back. We're back into present time.
You're back in present time. Patting my own ass. My wallet's gone.
My fucking wallet's gone. I'm a cop, and my wallet's gone. I'm gonna go call the cops and turn this in.
And when they do, they say, "Forget that chump's wallet. There's something going on down there at the burlesque show."
Right? Yeah. It's like go to the strip club for there's what do you call it when 2 people are fighting?
A domestic situation, domestic discourse,
Disturbance. Yeah.
Disturbance. Okay.
There's a disturbance, conflict. Some would say.
Some might say that. Unfortunately, not a Korean woman to be seen down there.
Yep. There's a disturbance about a bird. Over a bird.
See, I didn't even catch that until after the bird is summoned.
I didn't either. I just had to. Sometimes in my notes I'd have to go back and because otherwise it won't make sense.
Missed it. And they're like, we might see naked women down there. And his
naked women.
His cousin's like, yeah, you've seen naked women before. He's like, oh, my wedding night, I turned out the lights. This poor sap's never seen a naked woman before. Right.
He just had a girl's underwear on his face. Probably the prettiest girl he's ever seen.
No doubt.
Victoria Jackson at that time was hot. She was a good-looking gal.
Today, I think we briefly talked before the show. I think Victoria Jackson today has put on some poundage, which, whatever.
It happens.
It does happen.
It happens to the best of us.
And also the worst of us, too. And also, I think she is... a big proponent of the Tea Party. So to me, the Tea Party is a silly kind of a fad in politics. And between that and her unfortunate weight gain, not the Victoria Jackson of the past, not the Victoria Jackson that both you and I have milk-boned.
Yeah.
To.
There's a picture that we have that shows the difference between then and now. And
it is. It can only be described as a living nightmare.
Yeah, it's like Leatherface. It's sad because she was so pretty, and I never had the chance to have sex with her.
Wow, I mean, when you talk about celebrities and their kind of rise and fall in the public eye and where they are. Yeah, that's a good picture. These are blue link that, won't you, to our show notes?
Sure.
How attainable do you think Victoria Jackson would be today to you? Could you get with Victoria Jackson in 2016?
In her state, what she looks like?
Right now. Not whether or not you wanted to, but is she attainable to you?
Oh, yeah. She's like below that redhead on the C list.
You got to do it. You got to go. Below what? Kathy Griffin?
Yeah. Like in popularity-wise. I could get her.
Yeah.
She's a big fat cow now. She's disgusting. She's got leather face and everything. I would just have to tape a picture of her.
Like former self? Say, wear this?
Yeah. Wear this on your face.
Wear your face on your face. It's kind of like, you go to the high school reunion, that girl you had a crush on just got divorced, and now it's time to take her to Pound Town. Even though she might not look as good as she used to, you have to take advantage.
Sure. And I say, this is an opportunity that God has bestowed upon me, which he did not bestow upon me when I was a junior.
Don't squander
and had my car for the first time.
Don't squander it now. Victoria Jackson, watch out. We're coming for you.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Why
wouldn't you come on her?
We like your style, lady.
-4, in my opinion.
So they're in the burlesque club. There's an argument going on. One of the strippers is covered in balloons, and they're having an argument over like a dove.
Right, like a pigeon, I think.
Well, I think he says dove at one point because I originally
when doves cry.
What do you think that sounds like?
When
a dove cries, that's what it sounds like.
When doves cry. Anyway, yeah. So they go, and these two girls are in this room arguing. They knock on the door, and they open the door, and they throw a lamp out at him. And he shuts the door real quick, and the cousin cop is like, "Hey, how many more lamps are in there?" And the guy's like, "None." They open it up again, and they throw another lamp. He's like, "Oh, I must have miscounted." Yep. And laugh track, just like you like.
I love that laugh track. And the guy who's running the club, too, he's kind of a character actor from the time. I recognized him. I think he was the neighbor who maybe gets run over by a tractor in the Gremlins by the Gremlins.
I don't. It's been so long since I saw the Gremlins. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's worth revisiting, if nothing else, than to see what's that hot girl in Phoebe Cates talk about how her dad broke her neck in the. She talks about why she doesn't like Christmas because her dad dressed up like Santa and broke his neck going down the chimney.
Oh,
it's what I call
Gremlins 1 or 2.
The first one.
Okay, I'll watch.
It's what I call a showstopper because it stops the movie dead in its tracks.
Oh, okay.
Not for the better. So Radar he says, "What's this? I understand your conflict. I hear this dove. Let me call this dove." And he does. He beckons the dove. Cuckoo.
Is it a Cuban?
Yeah.
Is it a Cuban one?
Yeah.
Do they? Cuckoo. It's a Cuban pigeon.
It's Nick Kroll, is what that is.
Oh, okay. So, and also there was the balloon stripper when she started accidentally popping her balloons with his pen as he was trying to take a statement. But also the other one was like the saggy boob stripper.
Yeah,
like they looked like they were down in her belly, but it was just they were saggy. Plus the top was top.
It was an ill-themed top. It was a lot of strings, just a lot of unnecessary vertical lines that did not help her sagging situation.
He makes the sounds like the Cuban, in which Jason just did a great impression of.
Thank you very much.
The pigeon comes back and sits right up on his shoulder.
At this point, it cuts close to him, and you get a good picture of you get a close-up of his face. I said, he looks like Jason Alexander.
He does,
to me.
Very much so.
He looks like a young Jason Alexander.
In that picture, we will have on the every episode, I do a little picture with our logo. And
they're fantastic, yes.
One of those is that close-up.
Oh, good.
Yep.
And so maybe you can put a link in there.
Of Jason Alexander.
Or just put him in the show notes.
I'm just going to hashtag Jason Alexander.
He'll love it. they leave the burlesque club. Who they see outside? That's that young sane punk, and they're like, you know what? That's the guy from earlier.
Right.
He was there when we lost our wallets. Let's talk to this kid. They said, stop. Kid does not stop. He runs.
He's only got one arm is in a cast, but he's still booking it and climbing over shit.
Yeah, he runs away. They finally catch up with him, and he says, "I don't know why are you running?" He's like, "Because you were chasing me." And they're like, oh, "Okay, I don't have your wallet." They pat him down. They don't find it.
Right.
I said, "Okay," and then he says, "You know what? I'm sorry.
For
I'm
accusing you.
Accusing you. Let me buy you a root beer."
He's like, my dad died. My mom ran. My one of them died. Okay, the dad came back from the war and died, or something.
I think he died in the war.
Yeah, died in the war, and his mom skipped town, so he lived with his grandma.
Yeah, so he's out there on the streets trying to hustle, make a few bucks,
and so
supply for the family.
Radar felt bad for him.
So let me take you get that root beer flow. He says, "No, I don't want it." He says, "Please let me do it. I'll feel better." Okay, so he goes to the drugstore. There's Victoria Jackson. Now it's all starting to come together. Now it's like, okay, episode 2, 3, on to the second season, third season, fourth season. Here are your characters. It's always fun to see who from this cast and this story that they're telling right now, who's going to make it to the series.
Right.
And to me, it's very clear to see that a lot of people in the police station will be regulars, especially his cousin that he's working with. Victoria Jackson for sure. This young boy, which he's taken under his wing, and ultimately finds out he does have he had his wallet, but I think the wallet's gone. But he held on to the picture in the wallet.
Yeah.
Right?
He had ditched it. He had ditched everything else, and he had kept the picture because he didn't have a picture of his dad.
Yeah, and he thought one of the guys in the picture looked like his dad.
Right. So about 7 root beer floats later, then this comes about. He even had, like you said before, the pig's hair, Eleanor's hair,
in the wallet.
It was in the wallet, and so he lost that too.
Oh boy. He says, "You know what, punk? I feel bad for what's going on with you. I don't have a lot going on. I want to kind of help you out. I want to make sure you stay on the straight and narrow.
Yep.
Meet me here every Saturday." He says, "I'm not going to do that." He says, "It'd be in your best interest to do it." And he says, "All right, I'll see you then."
Yeah, he's like, "I might get in a lot of trouble for not arresting you. How about you do me this solid?"
Yep. So all right, I'll see you. I'll see you next week.
Yep.
And then Victoria Jackson is just overcome with estrogen at this point, just pouring out of her veins. She's like, "Oh my God, what you're doing for this kid is amazing." She keeps coming. This is the point where I'm like, I wish I was Walter O'Reilly. She was pawing at him.
She was overpowering him. He just kept backpedaling, and I'm like, why are you backpedaling? You could have already been inside of her rear end by now. She was so cute.
And she's pawing at him, and she kind of pulls him in, kisses him on the cheek, and where does she back him into? The pinball machine. And then the show ends on the pinball machine.
Yeah, and the bum bum bum. There's you hear it pop.
Ching, ching. Yep. And to me, you seem right now almost like, who cares? You love pinball so much. Do you not love it anymore?
I wish Victoria Jackson would plow me up against a pinball machine.
Okay, that's more like it. I want to see more because this had grandmas, Victoria Jackson, and pinball machines. To me, this is a trifecta of what you're looking for.
We shall see, my friend.
We shall see what you rate this thing. But before we do that, we're going to listen to a promo. What promo do you want to listen to?
Let's do Sex with Heather.
Yeah, I forgot we had decided that before.
Everybody will be dancing and we're feeling it right. Everybody.
It can be exciting to start new relationships. The ins and outs of getting to know each other, the inside jokes you create, and the frank and honest conversations about anything and everything. I, Heather, am beginning a new relationship with Heather, a Kaluna shrub that grows in Europe and Asia Minor. She's a wildflower with a roaming spirit and a tough exterior. I thought, what better way to get to know my new shrubbery than to discuss the ins and outs of sex? We'll be taking a look at each other and laughing about how funny scrotums look, peppering it with facts and friendship. Sex with Heather will be coming on Wednesdays, only at fcfnetwork.com.
I've heard that. I listen to a lot of the FCF network shows, not only because I'm part of the network and I want to support it, but also because I enjoy it.
Sure. I do because I executive produce 6 of them.
Right. I think people should go back and listen to that promo again. At the very end, it sounds like Heather says,
she goes, this because she does a joke, and when the thing about Heather is when she does a good joke that she thinks is like a really good joke, she's like, yeah, and that's what that was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's like, will be coming to you on Wednesdays. And she's like, oh, yeah.
But she goes, but at the very end, even there's a little noise that goes.
But that's her going like that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I just couldn't cut it off.
Leave it.
I love it.
I like listening for that now.
Sure.
Were you aware of that the whole time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I just heard it the other day, and I was like, and then I heard it again on another show, and I was like, oh wow, that's funny.
I think it's just it's very Heather-esque.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It reeks of Heather. Go to fcfnetwork.com. Check out all of our shows. Check out Sex with Heather. It is the only podcast. There's other podcasts like us, not that do pilot episodes of things, but talk about forms of media. Heather is talking about sex with a plant, not having sex with a plant, but explaining human sexuality.
The differences between a human and a plant's sexual organs and everything.
With a plant.
Yeah.
No one else is doing that.
Nope.
Not one person's doing that. And as of late, too, she started doing interviews with friends, boyfriends, and I'm sure that will expand. She's already talked to us about maybe coming on and doing an episode about couch sex.
Oh, and
because of our show's name is Couch Pilots.
And I've been thinking about it. And I was like, at first when she says, I was like, I don't know how many stories I would have. But then I started to think about it, and I'm like, oh, we might have to have a 2-part. Because it's only like a 20-minute show. I'm like, it's going to have to be a little bit longer.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to discuss with Heather. I am very excited to do that, and definitely check out her show. She gives a tour de force every episode. It is well worth your time. Speaking of time, let's start our. Actually, let's get into some turbulence here.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
I know we don't rate here. I'm just gonna go say I did not mind this. I thought this was okay. This feels like something that could be on TV today to me. This seems okay. Why don't you think this worked?
I don't think it worked because I think everybody has. First of all, it's probably like everybody's least favorite character on MASH.
Okay, yeah.
So you're trying to do a spinoff of like the 8th favorite person on character. I think everybody was wanting to forget about the Vietnam War and just wanted to move on with their lives. You know what I mean? It's like, why have another show
specifically about the Vietnam and the repercussions of the Vietnam War?
Like, yes, okay, they came back. They have Asian orange in their hair. Just knock it off. But I like I said, but mainly I think it was just he was not one of the favorite characters. To be honest with you, even as a young child, to me, I find him annoying. Like even the guy who dressed up as a woman trying to get kicked out was more entertaining. He was this big-nosed Jewish guy.
Oh, God,
you know what I mean?
Jesus,
was he Jewish? Fact.
I didn't watch the show.
He was Jewish, and fact, he dressed up like a woman. You can't say "oh gosh" to anything. Klinger? No, whichever one was he dressed. He was trying to get out.
Are you crying?
Yes.
Okay. I never watched MASH. I can't speak to this. I know Alan Alda was on it, right?
Yeah, he was a doctor.
To me, you're right. I recognize Alan Alda as being part of the cast. I would not have recognized this guy necessarily as being part of the cast of MASH because I never saw the show.
He was on. Yeah,
I don't care, but as far as if you want to do a spinoff, yeah, it's probably okay. I see the guy. Very Steve Carell-esque.
Very, very Jewish.
Steve Carell's not Jewish. I think he's Italian, so he could be an Italian guy too.
I'd kick Steve Carell's ass. Fuck Steve Carell.
He's got it coming, right?
You want to fight me?
What a bastard that Steve Carell is.
Hey, you want to holler at me? You write me.
I think he's got like Tom Hanks status as far as being like a super nice guy. Anyway, kick his ass. Hashtag beat ass.
Hashtag leave it on the tarmac.
Leave it on the tarmac. Yeah, you're probably right. Probably one of the least favorite characters. At this point, we're talking 10, 12 years of MASH, 200-plus episodes probably. You're talking about episodes of After. How much more of this goddamn series can you shove down our throats?
Right.
I think the final episode of MASH is often cited as one of the most watched television shows in television history.
Right.
It is quite probably a big explanation point on a series that was beloved. How much more can you milk this damn thing? And the answer obviously is no more, because not only is there nothing currently, but this thing didn't last.
They finally cut off that last bloodline. You know what I mean?
That last chunk of MASH, the MASH hash.
The MASH.
What would you have done if? What would you like to see, or how could you improve this show?
Well, it had a lot of Victoria in it. Okay,
It definitely did.
and that's what I was anxious to see. Is some more Victoria, but
More screen time or more skin time?
more screen time.
Okay.
I just love if she was in a dark room and just talking. I would love it.
Just that voice. Huh?
Yeah.
I wonder if she's ever done an audio book. Can you imagine getting a couple hours of just her maybe talking about, I don't know, say the Vietnam War, and you could just listen to her piercing, screeching into your ears?
You make it sound like she's. You didn't like her voice?
It's okay.
Imagine it during sex. That would be awesome.
Now we're borderlining on some Mason perv territory,
That's
aren't we?
true. That's true.
Okay, we'll let that go.
How could the question was how could I make it better?
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, this is a vanilla. This is a vanilla one. So I really can't think of how could you have made it better. You got to set up. You got to do a setup. I think they it just seemed to be going all over to me.
Yeah, I think they were trying to get into a pace of what the show would be, but the flashbacks were...
why don't you just take it in 2 shows to get all the stuff mapped out? The guy that kept answering the phone, because I guess back then they didn't have walkie-talkies. They just had...
They ran to a nearby phone on a post that went directly to the police station.
That guy was like an attorney or something. I've seen him in a number of shows.
I've seen him too. I agree with that. And again, this was in the early 80s, so this is a time relative to when we would remember people.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess you're right. Maybe that's what we're... I need to, when I watch these, I need to, really start maybe writing people's names down.
Digging into the IMDb's and then see where you know them from.
Right.
I do that a lot. I kind of like this show. I understand what you say when it's vanilla. But, compared to the last show we saw, Mason, which essentially had 4 sets that they worked with, they're all over the place.
Sure,
they're outside. They have all these different sets that they use. To me, it seemed like they had a decent budget. The MASH, maybe the death throes
of the MASH money?
Of the MASH money, that's right. Last of the MASH money. It really was put to use here. And I didn't think it was a bad show. I don't know why it didn't work, other than the character maybe being just kind of the whole the characters being played out.
Yeah, you're beating a dead Vietnamese horse, right?
I agree.
Well, that's who we were fighting.
It's essentially, I guess. Yeah, I mean, to me, they all look the same. Whether they're Koreans or Vietnamese or even Canadians, they all look the same to me.
Temperature's the same.
98.6.
Yep.
You're right.
That was a band we should have came up with.
98.6 degrees.
Yep.
All right. Let's take this thing in for a landing. For final descent, rather.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
We'll be seeing John's glowing cones anytime soon. Pretty soon.
Anytime we're bringing it in for a landing, I just keep my eyes out for John's glowing cones.
All right, final descent.
This pisses me off. Last week, Mason, that show sucked. 7. Walter, IMDb score, 6.4.
Are you looking at how many reviews there are, how many scores there are? Because we need to do the math on that. Because if you take whatever the score is, divide it by -4, and then multiply that by how many people did it, then it'd be more realistic of a number.
No, I am not getting into this complicated math argument with you again.
Algorithms, Jason. It's all about algorithms.
I understand that's what literally makes the world turn, is people consistently working on algorithms, but I am not part of that. That is not my hit parade, okay?
Right. Well, in Ferguson, that all wouldn't have happened if they would have had better algorithms.
You might be right. I
may be wrong.
I'm not having that argument. Rotten Tomato score, nothing. There's nothing there. Don't even look. Critic reviews, none. Viewer reviews, there's a couple. MASH, it is not. After MASH. That's what they called it. Epilogue, Walter is just plain lousy, and they did it cleverly where Walter is with the asterisks, and then the word lousy also has asterisks between each of the letters. Poor Gary Burghoff deserved better. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And regarding the whole asterisk thing, that was kind of obnoxious. I mean,
yeah.
I understand you have to tie it in to somebody who doesn't know, but it's like MASH was 4 letters. Walter is 6.
I kind of like this. That's another headline. I kind of like this. Worth seeing once. And only once. I agree with that. I don't know if I could go back and watch it again, but I didn't dislike it. And that's it. Those are all the reviews. It's, again, kind of a vanilla kind of, I kind of like it. It wasn't very good. A lot of people going, shrugging their shoulders.
Can we put reviews on there? Can we type them in, or are they just locked in?
I think we can create a Couch Pilots podcast IMDb account and start putting our own reviews on there if you want. Maybe our review is just a link to the show.
I was gonna say, can't we like go into Walter and put our own rating in?
Yeah, and
then under comments put, we reviewed this on this, and here's our link.
I think so, but how could you? Okay, but say we graded a Helen Chapel, how would that relate to their number system?
Well, you're going to do the math. You got to do the math. You've got to transfer. You're the one that came up with 7 numbers instead of 10.
I can't. A smart person who knew about math would have picked 10 numbers. I didn't do it.
Do you remember how your dad used to beat you when you were doing your math homework? Do you want that to happen again?
No.
Figure it out.
All right.
Jesus, have John help you.
Oh, boy.
Have John help you.
He'll be no help at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11, and the temperature is 69 degrees.
It's amazing how
For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
It's always 69 degrees when we land.
It's a good temperature.
Sure.
It's you don't need a light jacket necessarily.
No.
But you maybe keep pants on depending on the humidity level.
Sure.
It's just a good temperature.
Sure. Hey, John. What's up?
John, what's up, brother? Let's see that new tat.
Looks good, doesn't it?
Not bad.
Not bad at all. It's Y chromosome.
How them cones, boy? How them cones, boy?
How those codes, boy?
Let's see them cones, boy.
Oh, let's rate this.
What do you rate it?
Victoria Jackson helps it out. You feel sorry for him. Radar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of halfway famous people in it. I'll give it a 4. I because of of course because of the Vietnam War. I'll give it a 4.
That's why.
Yeah.
That puts it over the top.
No, yeah, that's just one of the things that
one of the factors he took.
Yeah.
I'm going to go one better, and I'm going to give it a little math. That's a number 5. This is past, for me, the midway point, past the medium, the average, just slightly above that. And again, I have to think about everything we've already seen and compare it to that in my mind. So I'm going to give it just above average, number 5.
But do you know my 4 is technically above average as well?
Why is that?
Well, if you take 7 divided by 2,
yeah,
it's 3.5.
Boy, my mind is just swimming.
I give it a 4, so technically I'm above average.
Okay, and again, me not knowing the first thing, not knowing a lick of math, I'm just going to have to take your word for it. Oh boy, wow. So that sums up Walter.
We've only agreed like once.
I think the tribe. We both gave it a biggins.
Yeah, we gave it a double biggins.
A double big.
Should we try to be more aligning, or do you think we're fine where we're at?
No, if you and I align, then why would we say the numbers at all? You know,
right? But I feel like when we're up here in the sky,
right,
and I'm going left, and you're wanting to go right,
yeah,
we're never going to get to our destination. Maybe we just start taking each of our numbers and then dividing that by 2, carrying the 1, then multiplying it by a -4.
I cannot do this,
and then divide that again by the number of stars that was given on the first review, which you would then take that number, put it in parentheses, multiply that by 2.
Oh my god!
And that's what we should. That would probably get the score.
I'm getting dizzy. All I see are just a bunch of decimal points.
I think there's going to be quite a few decimal points.
Ugh.
So, and then when you take decimal points, you've got to round up.
God, please stop.
So you take the decimal point and bring it in however many spices and spices.
Oh, now we're going to start cooking? Look, that's it. That's all we have to say about Walter. I don't want to hear any more about a review system. Join us next time when we watch the pilot episode of American Nuclear.
Is this a little something to wet our whistle?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Join us next time when we watch the pilot episode of American Nuclear. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. All right, some familiar faces in there. You can find the entire episode on YouTube. Simply search American Nuclear TV Pilot, or go to the show notes. Subscribe to our show, and then refresh it once a week. You're going to see our show pop up in there. All of the show notes in there that and they include all of our green links and
blue links.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say?
Green?
No, that is ridiculous. That is something I'm working on at home personally. Click on the blue links in the show notes.
What are the green links going to go to?
Don't worry about that. I think everyone on this planet in just a few weeks will know exactly what that's going to be. But until then, keep clicking those blue links. Keep sending us emails.
Oh, yes.
CouchPilotspodcast@gmail.com. We've got a free, for all you people who listen to us, you are gaining frequent flyer points. We are keeping track. We're putting them into our computer. It's crunched the numbers. The Pacino machine is working. It's working overtime to try to keep up with it. There are secret surprises in your future. There are aviator glasses in your future. There's a seat at our table up here in the sky recording this. If you're local and want to jump aboard the plane, let us know. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, we'll
consider it.
You email us and we'll see where your points are.
Yeah.
You might only be able to get a special surprise.
Hey, that's good too.
Yeah.
I would take a special. I wish someone would offer me a special, but I'm not eligible.
No, because you're the captain captain of this plane.
Yep. Even special points right now if you go to fcfnetwork.com and check out all of our shows. Just read the descriptions. There'll be something in there that you like. I guarantee it. That's it for me. What do you got, Blake? You got anything you want to say to all of our frequent flyers?
Good night, Gracie. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, this pilot we watched here may have been rough, but it's always smooth. It's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone. We will see you next time.
See you later, folks.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Tosher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.